At St. Peter's Square, history was rewritten. Before 80,000 pilgrims, Pope Leo XIV proclaimed the Church's first millennial saint, a teenager in jeans and trainers dubbed God's influencer. Carlo Acutis, the boy who coded faith into the digital age, now immortalized in sainthood. This is not tradition preserved, it's tradition transformed. Pope Leo XIV has proclaimed Carlo Acutis, a 15-year-old computer whiz nicknamed God's influencer, as the Catholic Church's first millennial saint. The canonization, held in front of an estimated 80,000 people at St. Peter's Square on September 7th, also elevated Pier Giorgio Frassati, a young Italian student and outdoorsman who died in 1925, to sainthood. The open-air Mass, the first saint-making ceremony presided over by Pope Leo XIV, the first American pontiff, was marked by jubilation. Vast crowds of pilgrims, many of them millennials and families with children, waved flags and carried images of Acutis. Large tapestries depicting the new saints hung from the Vatican's facade, while choirs and clergy filled the square with hymns. The Vatican confirmed that 36 cardinals, 270 bishops, and hundreds of priests took part in the ceremony. In his homily, Pope Leo drew on the lives of the new saints to challenge young people not to squander their own.
Today, this is a wonderful celebration for all of Italy, for all of the Church, for all of the world. In this setting, today we look to St. Pier Giorgio Frassati and St. Carlo Acutis, a young man from the early 20th century and a teenager from our own day, both in love with Jesus and ready to give everything for him. Carlo, for his part, encountered Jesus in his family, thanks to his parents, Andrea and Antonia, who are here today with his two siblings, Francesca and Michelle. Both Pier Giorgio and Carlo cultivated their love for God and for their brothers and sisters through simple acts, available to everyone. Daily Mass, prayer, and especially Eucharistic adoration. Carlo used to say, "In front of the sun, you get a tan. In front of the Eucharist, you become a saint." Another essential practice for them was frequent confession.
The only thing we really have to fear is sin. And he marveled because, in his own words, people are so concerned with the beauty of their bodies and do not care about the beauty of their souls. Acutis' canonization comes less than 2 decades after his death, an unusually swift journey to sainthood. 2 miracles were attributed to his intercession. The healing of 7-year-old Brazilian boy Matthias Viana, who had a rare pancreatic disorder, and the recovery of Costa Rican student Valeria Valverde from severe head trauma sustained in a cycling accident. Both healings were scrutinized and formally recognized by Vatican medical and theological commissions. For many of the faithful gathered at St. Peter's Square, Acutis represents a new type of saint, one wearing jeans, trainers, and a t-shirt rather than cassocks or habits. His image, approachable and familiar, has become a powerful symbol of a church seeking fresh connections in the 21st century. Carlo Acutis was born in London on May 3, 1991, while his father, Andrea Acutis, worked as a banker in the city. The family soon returned to Milan, where Carlo grew up. Though raised in a largely non-religious household, he developed a strong personal faith from a young age, aided in part by the family's Polish nanny. He was, by all accounts, an ordinary teenager. He loved football, video games, and making light-hearted short films starring his pets, sometimes voiced in Star Wars-style parodies. His mother, Antonia Salzano, recalls that he played PlayStation only sparingly, an hour a week, because he recognized the potential dangers of addiction. Carlo's mother said her son was an ordinary boy in every way, yet his greatness lay in placing Jesus at the very center of his life.
Definitely, Carlo was an ordinary child like everybody. I used to play, to have friends, to go to school. But his extraordinary was the fact that he opened the door of his heart to Jesus, and he put Jesus at the first place in his life.
Yet alongside this everyday adolescence, Acutis displayed remarkable spiritual focus and technical creativity. Using the family's outdated computer, he taught himself programming and built a multilingual website cataloguing more than 100 Eucharistic miracles recognized by the Church. Completed at a time when such digital projects were typically undertaken by professionals, the site remains a resource for Catholics worldwide. Carlo's life was cut short in October 2006, when he was diagnosed with acute promyelocytic leukemia. He died within days, aged 15, and was later entombed in Assisi. Today, his tomb, where he is displayed in jeans and Nike trainers under a glass sarcophagus, has become a pilgrimage site attracting nearly 1 million visitors each year. His relics, including a fragment of his heart, have been venerated across the world. Archbishop Domenico Sorrentino of Assisi says the numbers flocking to Carlo's tomb are striking. Almost 1 million pilgrims visited last year alone, and a dedicated shrine to him has already been established in Malvern, Pennsylvania. Acutis' rapid ascent to sainthood has drawn both devotion and debate. Admirers see him as proof that holiness is possible in modern life, for those who live amidst the internet, social media, and secular distractions. Critics, however, worry that the focus on Eucharistic miracles risks promoting a more problematic form of devotion. Nonetheless, Carlo's appeal endures, especially among young Catholics who recognize themselves in his hobbies and struggles. His life story is already being shared in parishes, schools, and online forums across continents. In Assisi, teenagers pray at his tomb, often remarking that he feels just like us.
He liked sports. He liked the internet, of course, and so he really just represents us young people, and we have all these interests. But first and foremost for him was Jesus.
For others, the connection is even more personal. Carlo Acutis' canonization, then, is more than a historic milestone for the Catholic Church. It represents a generational shift, a recognition that sainthood can wear trainers, carry a smartphone, and speak the language of a digital world. Whether hailed as God's influencer or simply remembered as a teenager who tried to live faithfully, Acutis now stands as a symbol of how holiness can take shape in the 21st century.